let's first of all start talking about the drums. We'll do textures, and then we'll do some chords and bass, and we'll see what else we can add, because by that point it will definitely already sound like lo-fi hip-hop. So we mentioned the BPM, down tempo, you can even go lower, but 70 to 90 is a good range. Here we have a drum rack already set up in this empty MIDI track. The drum rack is empty, and I have some effects here I'll show you, but just to first of all talk about two things. You can absolutely get, and I did share a free one, a lo-fi sample pack, and you can use some of those drums there, right? Start loading them, and start making some lo-fi hip-hop, and we probably do that as well. But you can absolutely use almost any type of drum sound and just make it lo-fi, okay? So just to maybe start giving some examples of building the rhythm, and then later maybe we'll switch it with other sample packs, so sample pack sounds. So I'm gonna go under drums, drum hits. I'm gonna go, let's first of all choose a kick, and I'm gonna use just the core library, so if anyone wants, you can use the same exact kick. Actually, there is a good one called Kick Dark I always use. Yes, I love that. Okay, let's take this, drag it here. Nice. Let's close the search, go to a snare. Now, even if this doesn't sound lo-fi right now, let's see just a few techniques to make anything we want lo-fi. Or again, you can use samples if you want. Hi-hats. Let's go core library. Let's take this.
May
And
I ask, like, when you're doing this process, is there anything that you're listening to? Like, I mean, about the quality of sound, like, how are you in your mind? What's going on as you're selecting these sounds?
very good question. So, first of all, in context of other styles, I will be more accurate to how the sound sounds straight out of the library. But in this case, I'm going to do some filtering or some hard EQing. So I just wanted to be, I guess, in this specific case, I was just looking for a punchy snare. Okay, something that has some punch to it. I'm sure we can find something better. And the hats, something long, so I have some more kind of wiggle room when it comes to fading in or making the sound shorter, maybe duplicating and adding a variation of that hat sound, making it into a shaker. So I just was looking for a longer hat, even though we're probably going to make it super short, okay, or at least that version. And the kick, I just wanted something that sounded somewhat acoustic, but still kind of low and deep. And this one is good, although again, we might make it a lot shorter. But in this style, I would assume less I would be less accurate about what I select because I'm going to completely change them. Or if I'm using a sample pack, like they want to share it with you, this is a free one from Cymatics. So there I might do some extra filtering, but right, some of these sounds are already filtered. So I can just use them straight up. Nice. In this case, we also have a note, which might or might not be actual factor when we're making the music. Okay, now I did give you just some kind of locators here. You can work with them, delete them, change them, whatever you want. Sweet. Let's just create here. We're going to create 2 bars. Okay, actually, we're going to start with 1 bar. Right click, insert MIDI clip or Command Shift M. Sweet. And first of all, let's place a kick and a snare here. And let's go back into the drum rack right here. And let's do a few things here to the sounds. So first of all, let me go to the snare, and we have a built-in filter, but just to make it more visual, we can add an EQ just on the snare here. Just to make it, again, more lo-fi by doing something like this. Nice. The kick also, we're going to make it shorter and add a fade out. Nice. I already have a drum bass here, so we can turn it down so we can boost the sound a tiny bit. Okay. This is just mostly volume, but also some saturation and transient designing. Nice. So we already get that lo-fi vibe just by filtering it. Nice. Hat will do the same. Now, in order to make the sound very, very short, we can use the warp engine right here. And let me find this. Let me arm this. There we go. We turn on the warp engine, and if you remember, the warp engine have these modes. You can turn off. This is essentially turning off the transient loop mode, although it looks like it just forward, and take down the envelope. Okay, so you have a whole range here of essentially almost gating or deciding kind of the sustain of the sound. Nice. The kick also, let's make it a bit shorter. Yeah, that's good. Okay, nice. I'm gonna also have two effects here on the master. I'll talk about them. This is free. Everything, all the plugins today I'm using are free. So we'll talk about them later. I'm gonna turn them off right now. Let's go and loop this one bar. Click on the clip, Command or Control L. Go inside the clip, double click, and let's talk about the hat. So there's a lot of approaches here when it comes to the hat. And first of all, these hats are not lo-fi enough right now. Let's go to the hats. Let's just turn the filter here. We'll change it to a bandpass. And let's go to the warp engine, turn off the transient loop mode, and okay, already much more lo-fi by filtering and making the sound shorter. You can also transpose them if you want. Okay, without the drum bass, by the way. We might just have to boost the volume, but you have a drum bass here just so you can turn it on. There's also this tiny bit of space, just essentially a reverb that I added. You can just turn on the dry wet. So we're in some sort of a room, okay? Very, very low. And here at the end is just a rack with a bunch of effects inside of it. You will also get this as a separate file so you can save it, but just more lo-fi. Okay, nice. We'll keep it without first. I'm gonna go into the drums. Let's talk about some of the techniques here to get this type of swung feel. First of all, very simply, and this is more kind of like a modern production tip because it's very hard to play it as a musician, but good musicians do this. We're gonna take all the hats and snares, and we're going to turn off the grid, Command 4, or you can right click, turn it off, Command 4. And I'm just gonna move it just a tiny bit ahead. Okay, nice. Let's bring it back. We can also just apply some swing. Let me actually make sure that they're quantized. We're back here. We can also apply some swing to the hats with the groove engine or do it manually. So manually, just because it's no, I don't want to show you manually because in a couple of months it's going to be different. I'll show you both. Let's first of all start with the swing. That's the easiest and everyone have this. If we go under the groove here, I'm going to click the hat swap. It's going to take me to the groove library of Ableton. Now, I don't like this list view. I want it categorized, so I'm going to right click and choose show in places. Now it's going to take me to the core library and we're going to have it categorized. Here we can choose swing. We have a bunch of different types of swing. Dila, for example, use the MPC. So we have swing from the MPC here. And usually we want the 8th note swing. Here is the number of how much is the beat swung. So 54 is going to be low amount. And 74 is going to be heavy swing. Okay. Usually I would recommend loading the heaviest swing. And then you can use, or right here, you have the global groove amount, the entire groove amount for the entire project. Or right here, this timing, that's the groove amount for this specific groove. So right now, if I play it, 100% with this groove, this 74, swinging the eighth notes, it's going to sound like this. Okay, now in order for us to have some context to what's happening, I'm going to open a new audio track and I'm just going to load a loop here of music, and then we'll do something together. Can we find what's going here? Doesn't matter right now. Let's load that. And let's turn it down a tiny bit so we can focus on the drums. And let's make it 2-bar so we can get the entire phrase. Okay, nice. Now, again, this is super heavy swing. So I can change it by going to my groove library and just taking down the time in here, or the global groove amount right here on the top. So let's start taking it down so we just get a not so severe kind of swing. And when we say swing, by the way, all it means is that we take every other note and we start pushing it towards the next one. Okay, so this might be 74, and then we're going to go down to like 54, whatever we want. That's the feel.
Hey, Yuda.
So, yes.
Just a quick one out of curiosity. Does that global swing only pop up if you have swing on a specific clip, or?
Yes, so it needs to have at least one clip. Yeah, just one clip.
Because I was like, I don't have that right now.
Yeah, no,
but
absolutely.
I haven't applied it. Okay.
Good observation. So thank you. If you don't have any groove applied to at least one clip in your project, you won't see the global groove amount. As soon as I do, you will see it appear on the top. Okay, good. Yeah, good observation. Let's take this down. Yeah, nice. Maybe like, let's dive in. Nice. And if we put a kick here, it's also going to, oh, this is actually not going to swing. Is it? I don't think it is. Yeah, a tiny bit. Okay, nice. Now I can hear the swing and I'm going to adjust the swing. Once I'm happy with the swing, if you want, you can click on this right arrow key, which will actually move the notes according to the groove. Okay, I'm going to undo that. Now the reason not to apply or not to commit the groove to the clip is if you're using some randomness right here. And this randomness will add some randomness to the timing of the notes, so you can have some more, a tiny bit more drunk feel. This is going to sound extreme, but let's push it all the way up. Actually, it's perfect for the style like this.
You had a quick question?
Yes.
If you generate something randomly, can you freeze it so that it is basically non-random, so you can preserve the randomness for how you want it to sound?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, let me apply a different groove, because right now if we take the random and we only have it 35%, it's not going to be a lot of random. Let me bring back the global groove amount to 100. We're going to switch this groove with a less severe groove. Let's try 57. Nice. And now let's add some random. Okay, that might pass in today's youth ears. But again, super drunk. We can just take down the randomness. Let's say for these styles, you can have a lot. Usually for most styles, I would say like 7%, very small, just humanizing the timing. But in this case, it sounds like we're a bedroom producer finger drumming. So in this case, I did have to go down in the amount because I wanted to use the random. Now, if you are using random, when I commit this, that's it. It randomized it only once for those 2 bars. That's it. That's the, which is great. I can then duplicate this beat. Okay, which is awesome. But if I want to continuously generate randomization, I would leave it be like this because it's still working. It's just not committed to the clip. So to answer a question, Devin, I think it was Devin, if I want to freeze it or just essentially have just that one-time randomization, I just click this button right here. Okay, which can be great. Okay, you can do that. Let's do that right here, which is awesome. So before we do that, let's layer our snare with maybe a different sound as well, like a clap or something. So I'm gonna go and let's go to our sample pack here and just load a clap. Yeah, that's fine. Let's load a clap right here. Oh, maybe sound like that. More crunchy. Let's also load a snap. Sound like that. Now, I'm just gonna layer them like this. Let's change velocities. Maybe we'll change that. And okay, and then at the end, we might add some extra sound with reverb. But now, with our randomization of, let's do some bit more random, hopefully it will also displace them, or if not, we can do it manually. And let's say mix them. So I'm gonna go jump to the session view, just so I can open up the drum rack right here. And so I can see, so I can turn them down from here. Let's pan them. Guys, you don't have to do this. You can go inside the drum rack. You will have everything. Here we have the volume of each sound. You can even open up the chain list, which will have this mini mixer right here. I just like it in the big mixer view because you can see it's much more visual like other tracks. So we don't have to think about the drum rack as its own thing. The drum rack is just a container for a lot of different tracks that just play in a one-shot sample. Okay? Even though you can do much, you can do plugins, whatever you want. Nice, already we got kind of that lazy drunk feel just by utilizing groove and some of the randomness. This is high random, but I kind of like it. It's cool. I like that sloppiness, but you can decide according to the randomness. Okay, nice. Now, a few other things we can do is I can also add on the hi-hat a tiny bit of manual velocity change, so I can take every other one and just turn them down here. Let me do that actually. I'm going to take every other one. I'm going to turn them down just a tiny bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the velocity lane down here. And I'm also going to hold Command and drag one of the velocity handles down. And now it's going to give me a range of randomization for velocity. So every time the hat hits, it slightly randomizes the velocity. I'm going to emphasize the velocity sensitivity because I think we have a lot of compression here from the drum bass. So let's do this. Nice. I'm going to take down the timing a tiny bit and the randomization. Just make it a tiny bit tighter. Okay, I'm going to turn off the groove just a second. And what we're going to do is, I just want to show you there's another way of doing this, which is going to take what we call a quintuplet swing. It's a different type of swing. So our classic swing, by the way, is a triplet swing. Right here, triplet. And this is our classic. Let me turn off the hats. And we'll do like this. So here is our triplets. This is what triplets going to sound like. Eighth note triplets. Okay. If we take out the middle triplet, that's kind of a classic blues jazz swing. Okay. Now, quintuplets is when we divide the beat into 5. Right now, the beat divided into 3. We can't really do it built in right now in Ableton, but in Ableton 12, it's going to be much easier. But there's a trick to divide the beat into 5 by simply creating 6 different 16th notes, grabbing all of them. So you create one more than you need to divide the beat. So I want to divide the beat into 5. I create 6 notes, highlight them, and then I have this handle I can bring in and delete the last note. And now we have 5 notes in a beat. And here this is the swing that we're talking about. Let's just compare it to what we just saw with the triplets.